Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Man. You are joining Brad and I chatting, and just thought we'd hit record because Brad was asking me about my shirt.
Well, you always have Hawaiian shirts on ever since I met you, and so that's why I saw that and I was like, hold on. I mean, you're in the new house, you know, lots of changes happening. Maybe it's like graduating from Hawaiian shirts. I don't know. So I was just curious, like, what was going on. But what you said about the buttons is perfect. That like leads into our topic today, by the way.
It does lead into our topic today. Because what I was talking about is like, okay, so, right, because, and I can't be the only one who's got this problem. So, right, I've got a button all the way up here because else it's like, and I'm wearing an undershirt. So, wait, I'm just thinking, people who can't see the camera don't see. I have the shirt like way open, and I'm like, so it's like I need a middle button. Yeah, people are listening to this.
Great. What's so great about this is I literally leave that button undone no matter what. It's so you like up and you're like, hey. And I'm like,
well, I'm trying not to alienate any more around this by like saying I should have like gold chains or something that I thought, and just not wear the undershirt and have all my chest hair sticking out. But yeah, it is. It does definitely leads into what we want to talk about today, because it's like, okay, either I have it too open or it's too closed. And I'm like, get all kind of uptight and kind of thing. And it's trying to find that middle ground, right? And like kind of like refer to it, that Goldilocks thing. It's either too this way or it's too that way, or how do we get just right? How do we have this Goldilocks thing? Because being guys, there's a lot of pressure on us doing things just right.
Oh, so much. I think that more and more women understand that. But I don't think they really understand it, generally speaking, because so it's the classic, like, stereotypical man, right? No feelings or stuffs the feelings down deep, has to be strong, has to know how to do everything, right? Like plumbing, you better know how to do plumbing if you own a house. Can you change the brakes on your car? Can you change the oil? Like all these things, like you're expected to know these things, right? Like that's... But in the back of a guy's head, it's like, man, there's so much going on. Does my shirt look good? Am I dressed right? Is this okay? You know, is my haircut okay? I mean, there's so legitimately, and I know we've had an episode on insecurities, and I could talk like for days on this, where it's like, I don't feel, and this sounds so goofy now I say it, but it's like, I don't feel this shirt fits right. And Lisa's like, you look great in it. And I'm like, are you sure? And I'll ask her like 100 times, are you sure this looks good? You sure these jeans look good? It's ridiculous, but this is the real guy. The real guy thinks about stuff like this. Don't let anyone tell you that dude doesn't think like that.
No, well, you look. Why do you see me in I just threw out like maybe 8-9 Hawaiian shirts because they're too short.
Oh man.
They got dried on too high of a setting, and so they're too short, and so it's like, well, they're gone. Why? Because I'm not going to wear a shirt that's
too short. It feels weird.
Yeah, because somebody along the way has defined that here's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. So real quick, I bought Black Friday deal, right? Or Cyber, whatever it was. But an Untuck It shirt. And I don't know if you've... Oh, okay. Yeah, they're not sponsoring us, so I'm just free advertisement for them.
For the sake of the audience, go ahead and tell everybody what an Untuck It shirt is.
So an Untuck It shirt is a button-up shirt, but it sits shorter. So it's not supposed to be tucked in, because I don't like to tuck in my shirts. I mean, I will, clearly, like formal, whatever, whatever's going on. But usually I don't like to tuck in my shirts. So these shirts sit like at a perfect spot on, like, I don't know, on your waist, right? Or whatever. Yeah. Like, but it sits there so it doesn't look too small. But I tried on some and I was like raising my hands up because I'm like, is this too small? Like, is it too short?
Why am I wearing a belly shirt?
Yeah. I was like, it's kind of like the girl test for going to church, right? Like you should be like, Lisa does this every now and then with like some shirt she has. She'll raise her hands up. She's like, can you see anything? Like, am I showing my belly or anything? I'm like, no, you're fine. But it's because you're going to church. So you're going to raise your hands up. So you got to know.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's depending on the church, right? Because, you know, like,
true.
see, I went to a Baptist Costal. You could raise your hands, just not
But yeah, there was a certain, yeah, it's like right here, you go any further than that, you got to go down the road.
Yeah, I know. If you're lifting your hands all the way up, you might as well start running up and down the aisle.
Oh my goodness, so true. But so these are the things though that guys think about 100%. Like all this stuff.
That's because things shift. There's a shifting thing, and that's one of the challenges with following the world with this rules. And I was even talking to somebody today. I said, well, hey, is this how you felt about things a year or two ago, or did that change? Do you have a different definition? Do you have a different concept? Are your beliefs different now a couple of years than they were before? No. And then so you're strong in your beliefs now, but what's to say that in a couple of years from now you're not going to be strong in those beliefs and they're going to be different, right? That's what the world does. Yeah. It's shifting. It's shifting, and we need something to hold on to because there's a lot of pressure to get it right. There's a lot of fear that men have of failing, and as far as comparing to other men, or this concept of what a man's supposed to be. And goodness, we could go down a different rabbit trail, which we will not, but we could go down a different rabbit trail about what a man are supposed to be, because you talked about that back in, I think, in episode 1. About the Al Bundy, not Ted Bundy.
No one wants to be like Ted Bundy. Right.
Nobody wants to be like Ted Bundy. But,
no.
But about the Al Bundy attack on man, on the husband and all that. So, right, because if you're too this way, then you're too masculine. Well, now you're toxically masculine, and you're too strong, and you're too tough. And but if you're this way, well, then you're too soft, and you're a pushover, and you're not leading at all. And so you're right. So you're a big jerk, or you're a doormat. And I think I mentioned that a lot of husbands in the past I've worked with, they've struggled. I don't know how to find that happy medium. And goodness, this society will demagogue.
Yep.
They will demagogue if they don't like what you're doing and how you're doing that, because they do want to take us out of the picture. Right. Then they'll okay, boom, here we go. Let me call you out. So then that way now you will feel bad about doing that. And so you won't do that anymore.
No, exactly. I just, there's so many like points you hit on right now. So going back just a little bit, when you talk, I know you were hitting on all of them. I was like, man, I gotta I don't want to take notes because I don't want to look down and like, what is he doing? So
you're like Chris of the first 3 episodes.
Yeah. I was like, come on, man. No. What you talked about with the world changing and men not knowing, the ebb and flow, right? Not trying to trying to figure out this or trying to figure out that. I think the biggest place you see this in, I mean, you do see it everywhere, but right now in churches, seriously, because you'll have, and I mean, I've seen so many different pastors speaking on different things, but you'll have pastors that, because of the shift in culture, which I get it, but the shift in culture, they might not hit on things that they should probably be hitting on, because it is that like, man, this is a hot topic in the world. I don't know what we should do here. And what I was getting at when you were saying, even like, hey, how does a man decide? Is he too masculine? Is he too not masculine? Whatever it is, like, is he faltering? This is how you do it. You read the Word of God, and it tells you exactly how to be a man. And you imitate Jesus. That's what this walk is all about. Your Christian walk is about imitating Jesus' life. You imitate Jesus' life. He was a tough, rough man, for sure. Worked with his hands. Oh, yeah. He loved people unconditionally. Like, he got mad. Yeah, he got mad. He's human. Like, these are different emotions that we have, but he could talk to anyone he needed to talk to. He had compassion for people. He had empathy for people. He had understanding. Like he had all these things where on one hand, he could be flipping tables, right, in the church. And you can go to that story and read about that.
Yeah.
But he could be flipping tables in church.
And all the guards let him be.
Yes.
Right. You had guards around there and they let him be. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. And that's a perfect thing right there, because you talk about a masculine man, right? I mean, yes, he's 100% man, 100% God. I'm not like demeaning Jesus, but you talk about a masculine man. He went in there flipping tables for good, what he needed to do, and guards didn't even stop him, right? And the men following him, the disciples and all the other people following him, they thought he was there to actually physically overthrow a kingdom. Like that's what they thought. That's what everybody thought was happening. So you have this super masculine man that could lead people, speak to people, do all these things. And at the same time, you have Jesus that would take a knee and talk to kids, that would go help the lepers, would go help someone that's lame, would go help the blind, like would go do all these things for people, to serve people. And so you have a very masculine person and you have this super compassionate person. And that's where being a man is. And so like, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, the world says I can't be too masculine. The world says this, the world says that. And it gets ridiculous. Like, don't even get me started. My kids laugh at me all the time. They laugh at me all the time because we'll drive by. Look, I know styles come and go, like clothing styles. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get it. But I'll drive by and I'm like, I see like a high school boy with a high school girl, probably dating. They're walking. And the dude looks more girly than the girl. And I'm like, I know I'm treading a thin line right here, but I'm like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, you look like a girl, but you're not a girl. You clearly are a man. Like you're clearly, but you look like a girl. It's just, so I know all that shifts, but if you want to know how to be a man, I'm telling you. And if you're not on this God train, get on it, because you need to open the Bible up and see it. And it tells you right then and there how to be a man. I've gone through this, like thinking like my pride side, right? Like wanting, and Chris knows this and he's laughed at me about it before and all these things. But like I went to high school, I played football in high school. Shocker, right? Everyone's looking at me like, yeah, of course he played something in high school, right? Played football in high school, did all like the things you're supposed to do, right? I was a jock. Went to college, did the same thing. Played ball in college, all these things. Then I get out and then I get into law enforcement. And then in law enforcement, I get to like the special side of it, like the harder side, if you will. But all these things are like, man, this is what a man's supposed to do, right? In my head, I'm like, I'm doing all the things that even guys that can't do, they want to do this. Like I'm doing all the things. And man, pride will slap you down. I wouldn't say I was ever a toxic male, but I probably was a little bit arrogant for sure. And after everything happened with my testimony and all that, learning that pride was an issue that I didn't even know was there. And now here I am now, and I cry. I cried today. I cried today. I was working out. And not because the weight was too heavy that I cried. That happens.
Not because it fell on your foot.
Yeah, not because it fell on my foot. I got my headphones in and I found this new artist that I was listening to, Christian artist. Like I'm big on Christian music and all that. And I'm listening to Christian artists and this song just hit me. And man, I'm telling you, it was like church. It hit me and it just was like, whew. And I cried. I was crying in the garage. And did I care if my son came in there and saw me? Absolutely not. And that's taken years for me to be there, but that's because I'm pursuing my walk with Christ. So yes, can I be the manly dude, chopping wood, going camping, shooting guns, all this stuff? Yes. But also in that balance of my kids can come to me and talk to me and hug me whenever they want. And if they see me cry, it's not a surprise. It's legitimately like those are emotions that are okay to have. And if you can't balance that, then that's what's wrong with the world right now. It's you're either too quote unquote manly or you're too quote unquote, I don't want to say feminine, but that's what you would call it, right? And so you have too much compassion, then you don't have enough, and it's just this crazy balance. And I think a lot of men fall in what they want people to think.
I think that's the real key. And I got an article that we're going to be reading, but that's actually kind of what it keeps circles around is, are you too hung up on what the world thinks of you? Right. That's it. And I don't remember the reference, but the Bible says you can't be a friend of the world and a friend of God.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't.
So you got to choose one or the other. And one of the things that one of the verses I was thinking before, and I did pull this up, Micah 6:8, because if you're wondering, okay, well, how am I supposed to act then? Okay. Because it all starts up there. And I got this one. Micah 6:8 says in the ESV, he has told you, O man, what is good and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God. Right. So we are to have humility, right? We are to be kind and love justice. So when we see things that aren't right, we should be stepping in and fixing them.
Absolutely.
We should always have kindness. It's Jesus' kindness that led people to repentance. It's kindness. And we should have this humility, right? Because it's not us. It's Christ through us that's going to make the impact. We talked about we're mere mortals. We are going to run out of batteries. We've got to be connected to God. So it's God working through us. And so if you're listening to us, you're going to hear the common theme. What does the Bible say about it? And are you becoming more like Jesus? Are you looking more like Jesus in your life and the things that you do and say? Because here's what the world will tell you. And so I got this article. I want to give preference to it, but I'm also like, I'm not looking to pick a fight.
Yeah.
Because look, the world is, for us to expect that unbelievers to act like anything but unbelievers is unrealistic. So even those people are like, oh, they're sinning and all that. Well, they're unbelievers. So what they believe, they don't believe that they're,
that's what they do.
Tell them about that's what they do. So it's like, So the problem isn't that they're sinning. The problem is they don't know Jesus. So help them know Jesus the way that Jesus helped them know Jesus, by going up to and talking to the people who didn't talk to them, who interacted with people who everybody stayed away from, who touched lepers, and all that kind of stuff that you were bringing up before. All right. So the article is How to Be a Man. Okay. So these are traits that define manliness the way it should be. So
was that like the air quotes when you did that?
No, that was kind of my air quotes, but that's what it says. That was the article. Because you might think we know how to be a man, but do we? I don't know. I mean, because if you're wondering what it really takes, this is per the article, in the world to command respect. Here's some of the answers. First off, I don't even know what that means. What does that mean to command respect?
Like throw a fit because no one's respecting you?
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's, and then that makes me think about episode 1 as far as this idea of like the Tony Robbins kind of people. Yeah. When someone who's like 6'7" and he walks into a room and he's famous and all that, does he command respect? I don't know. I mean, but I think, isn't that what a lot of people kind of think? Oh, well, that's a leader. That's a man. And I can't, and my 5'9" self won't ever be 6'7". So, so I guess I don't measure up. I don't know. I just this idea of command respect. How about being me? I'm thinking, how about being respect worthy?
Absolutely.
I digress. Let me continue on.
Yeah.
A real man isn't just a smooth talker or a guy who tries to fit in. Okay.
Isn't just. That's what hit me on that, right? So that is part of being a man according to the, but it's not just. So
you have to. So apparently you have to be a smooth talker and a guy who tries to fit in.
When did this article come out? I'm just curious.
It's just relatively recent.
It is. It's just crazy to me because you would think that I know when I went to high school, the big thing that was pushed was be yourself, right? Like, you know, and it wasn't like trying to fit in, try not to be norm. And I think it's gone a little crazy now. It's gone like way crazy, but it's just funny.
Way crazy.
Yeah, way crazy. But it's just funny that it says that you should try to fit in. I've been in rooms where I don't feel like I fit in at all. And I don't try to know more than the people in there. I don't try to do anything different. I'm just like, I don't fit in here, but what can I do? I can learn from the people. Like, so I don't like to talk about myself. And I just really, people have to draw things out of me, right? So when I'm in that situation, I'm asking questions because I'm like, man, get this guy to talk. I don't want to talk, and just learn. But a lot of that is not fitting in. Like, but is that okay? I think it's okay.
There's lots of verses that say that we're supposed to be set apart.
Yeah.
And we had a whole episode that talked about that we're holy people set apart.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what holy is. Holy is to be set apart. That's to be not be like everything else. And we had a purpose that was for a specific use, not just to fit in. You know, that's okay. All right. He's someone who's always looked up to with awe and respect.
Wow.
I don't know how do you pull that off?
I have no idea. Oh, wait. No, I know how to pull that off. You're fake to everybody. And you put on on a persona, you put on this mask when you're outside of your four walls. That's how you do it. Yeah. That's exactly how you do it.
I imagine the pressure. Talk about pressure and anxiety to always be looked up to with awe and respect. So that means you can't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Wow. You can't ever say, you have to be a smooth talker and you always have to say the right thing.
And you have to command respect, be a smooth talker,
command respect,
always fit in, and always be like looked up to and respect.
Yeah,
that's
gets better.
Better. Yeah, I'm sure it does.
And yes, he definitely knows his way around women too.
Oh, so
to be a real man,
he's a smooth talker.
Smooth talker. So apparently we have to be womenizers. We have to objectify women and know how to manipulate and to not respect them. Oh, okay. I don't want to take this too far off, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, man, what did Satan write this article? I don't know the guy who wrote. I don't have the article in front of me. We won't say who wrote the article. I'm just saying, like, wow, this is exactly. This is the attack on marriages. This is the attack on men. This is the attack on families in our society.
Absolutely.
Womanizer, smooth talker, basically a cheater, a liar, a fake. Like that is basically what this list is going down. Right. And then
fake it till you make it, baby.
Right. And then I would say even cheater, liar, fake, and a whiner. Right. Be like commanding respect.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm title. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, wow. Man, I don't even think a 2-year-old acts like this, but whatever. Okay. I digress.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
All right. So I'll read on for things to know and traits to be more like a man. Right. All right. Because look, there's far too many guys who just exist or are constantly worried about being admired and loved. Like let's and there's sometimes that's because of insecurities, right? So but some of them for pride, which is a form of insecurity too. But so it's I guess ultimately the wrong focus is in the wrong area, right? Because we all want to be loved and accepted. We want to try to find purpose, belonging, and all that, which is all found in Christ, right? He's the only one who could truly provide that. The world can provide power, can provide sex, can provide temporary pleasure, that kind of stuff. But let's continue. But for a few real men, for a few real men, getting attention and respect and the respect they deserve comes naturally.
Oh wow!
So apparently, there's a few who
Just
are.
A few.
There's only a few. There's only a few who are real men, who it comes naturally to. They don't have to be a fake and and lie. It's who's that dude on the Most Interesting Man?
Oh yeah, the
commercials.
Dos Equis commercials. I don't know the guy's name, but
that's so. There's him and a handful of other people, and they get the attention and the respect they deserve because it comes naturally. Nothing internally, no heart efforts and that.
That's just them. It just happens.
Hey, no wonder guys suffer trying to go like, how can I be a real man? I'm obviously not one of the natural ones.
It's a little
guys. No, and I'm saying that. Look, guys, men, I am obviously not one of the natural ones, and I failed at smooth talking, so and knowing my way around women, so I don't know where I fall according to this article.
No, it's like, man, it's disheartening reading an article like this for sure, because now I don't know how widespread this article is, but men would think that, if I don't have that, then am I really a man? Like if I don't have these check marks, right? I mean, yes, there are natural leaders. There are people like men are drawn to men. There's certain men that like you just feel drawn to them. I get that. We've all been in those places. You just gravitate towards that guy for whatever reason, right? I don't even know. I don't even have an example of why, but for whatever reason. But to say like the true man is that person that you gravitate towards, what are we holding up to be the thing, right? Like what are we elevating in a man's life? And that's what we are supposed to be drawn to. Like, what are we elevating towards? Right. Like,
and isn't that part of the problem?
Yeah.
We're looking towards other mere men as the model in a society that's shifting about what a man is.
Yeah.
Because you can't be a man like you could in the 50s or 60s because they were toxically masculine.
Yeah.
And John Wayne would have been canceled a long time ago.
Oh yeah, for sure. He would have got canceled right away. Like there's movies from the 90s that there's no way they would ever come out now.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean?
Well, see, and that's the crazy thing because look, I'm a kid of the 80s. I know you're a kid born in the 80s.
No,
I was a kid in the 80s.
Hold on one second. All right. I'm an 80s kid. Okay. I was born late 70s. All right. I'm an 80s kid. Not as 80s as you, but I was there.
Definitely not. Yeah, no, that's all right. I'm just messing, man. I'm just messing. Well, that was the theme of all the 80s.
Oh, no, for sure.
80s, but it seemed like the 80s movies that were targeted towar's kids, towards teenagers, was all about losing your virginity or having sex or hooking up and all that kind of stuff. Well, that was this over-sexualization thing. And so that's what, growing up, I thought, okay, that's what it takes to be a man. You got to go out, you know how to pick up girls, and you got to know and do all that kind of stuff. The conquest kind of thing. And that's what I had seen for that. And I mean, it's crazy.
No, it's wild. I just, if you are, man, it's just so hard, right? Because it seems like here's the easy answer, right? Easy, but the easy answer is literally like, so burn this article and
start there.
So first let's burn the article, but then like truly dive into what Jesus has called a man to be. Like really just dive into that. It's enlightening. It really is enlightening. And it helps you understand like, this is why I'm like this, but because God's already put this in my heart. Like I'm a male. God designed me the way I am. This is why I do things like this. This is why even emotionally, a lot of guys have a hard time like showing emotion or even talking about it. Right. And I think that does come from the way you're grown up and what you see in society and all those things. Because if you read the Bible, there's no hiding of emotions. right? Like there's not any hiding of emotions. People are talking about them. People are in it. Like Jesus is in emotions, talks about crying, talks about weeping, talks about these things. Like it's fine to have these feelings. This is what like, and I don't know, I lost it, but I had a list of like, if you just Google, this is what I did. I just Googled, what does the Bible say a man is, or a biblical man? And there's so many like articles, and it has scripture that backs it up. And if you just glean that, it's so enlightening because it's like strength, protection, provider, comforter, like all these things just start happening. And then if you step back and you think about it, it's like, man, if you're married, that's what a husband's supposed to be. That's if you have kids, that's what a father's supposed to be. Like all these things. If you're single, you have a circle of who you are around, and those are the people that you're there to comfort. You're there to lift up. You're there to protect. You're there to provide. Like these are things that happens, and it's just, and you see what we see a lot. Just look at the news. You see a lot of that not happening, and then that's where all these things start unraveling and falling apart. Because now, can women do this? Yes, of course. Women they could provide. They can be compassionate. They can be strong. They can know the things to do. They like all these things. Yes, women are supposed to be the same way for sure. Like get into the Bible, like really get into the word. It explains all these things.
And not just traditions.
No.
Right? That's part of the challenge is there's traditions that have culturally fed into the church. And like you were saying earlier, the church that pushes into it. And so, okay, now we don't talk about this or we don't do this. So yes, there's a long time of tradition of certain ways of masculinity where there was it went too far and it wasn't, but it wasn't following the Bible. Right. It was a poor representation of what was the word actually said. All right. So again, so this article is great. This is a treasure trove because now it lists out ways of how a man should really be. Because guys, you got to remember that everything that God has his ways, right? So if you read the Bible, like Brad was talking about, it's not always clear, so you might need a little help, but but the information's there. The principles are there as far as patterns to follow and ways to move forward. The enemy loves to take what God has done and he likes to twist it and likes to pervert it, and likes to make it. But he's the imitator. He's not a creator. God's the creator. So the enemy is the imitator. So here a lot of these things are going to actually sound familiar, but get twisted a little, and that's how you mess with the truth, right? You tell a little truth or enough truth that people are like, oh yeah, that's right. And then you twist it just a bit. You don't have to have somebody like be way off. They just have to be off enough.
It's like progressive Christianity. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what it is. Right.
We should have talk about that one time.
Yeah.
All right. So, because it does talk about that a real man isn't skin deep. All right. The real men are created on the inside and only accessorized on the outside, whatever that means.
Okay.
But right, so that's true. So, right. Our heart, our identity, we talked about identity and how we see ourselves. Okay. So if you truly want to be a man who's respected as a fine gentleman, although you're a fake womanizer. Okay. But if you want to be respected as a fine gentleman, here are the traits of a true man. So you can take on these traits as a true man. Okay. And by the way, one of the suggested readings is another article that says what makes a man attractive, 38 traits to make women desire you. Okay. So
it sounds exhausting.
Part of this, and it does sound exhausting. So part of this being a real man is also reading this other article to become desired by women. So apparently a real man is desired by women. So if you're not desired by women, then sorry.
You're out of luck.
You're out of luck. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll just, do you want me to do one at a time, or do you want me to do the whole, I got a list of 15.
I mean,
go down the list.
Fire them off, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Let's fire up. All right. Number one, He has principles. Okay. Yeah, that's a 2. His word is his word. Still going with that. 3 is chivalrous. Is that right? Chivalrous. Okay. All right.
Chivalry.
So chivalrous. Yeah. Chivalry. Yeah. Not, it's a little controversial now, but I'm still 4 has respect and humility. Not having a problem with this so far. Okay.
Yeah.
5 has dreams, but then there's an article on how to sexually attract a woman. So does that mean that his dreams are about being sexually attractive and are about women? Okay, so this is where it starts. We're starting to lose it. Okay, 6, sophisticated and well dressed. I'll just move to. I don't even know what that means. Okay. Yes. 7, he's determined. Okay. All right. Well, that's whatever. 8 is not sneaky. So a real man's not sneaky,
but he's a smooth talker.
And he tries to manipulate women and does things to make it.
I mean, if he's open about it, right? Like,
yeah, true. If you say that I wore this cologne just because I know it's, Anyway, all right. 9, he's in control. Of what? What? Yeah. So
here's the news flash real quick. Nobody's in control.
Okay. Yeah, you're not in control.
Right. Moving on. News flash.
You think you're in control? You're not. You make a bad God. Okay. Number 10, he knows his priorities. Okay. We talked about that though on another episodes about priorities. Number 11, he has empathy. We're good with this. We're supportive of that, unless you're using your empathy to just manipulate women. But I said I was just going to go through these. All right. So number 12, he's a good listener. Good for him. 13, controls his anger. It controls his temper. Right. 14, keeps his commitments. Okay. And 15, his words and actions meet or match. Okay. So like this list. So here's how a man should be. And a lot of it, I don't think we have a problem with this, but then it's kind of like, but this falls off here and there.
Well, you have to define each one.
You do.
Like that's what
definitions matter.
It does. It really does. Because if we're basing it off the article, then this guy's definitions are way off, for sure.
Way off.
But even the Bible, there's a few of the things, and like you said, it's like this fine line, right? It is the truth, right? Jesus, let your yes be yes, your no be no, right? Like that's your word. Like this is what, don't flounder. Yeah, you say something, this is what it should be. To be chivalrous, like that is compassion, right? That's not saying that someone's weaker. That's just showing care. Like I will open the door for my wife, for my daughter, for my kids too. Like I will open the door for them. Not because they can't open the door, because I'm just honoring them. Yeah. Right? Like I will do these things because I want to honor them, not to get something out, not to show off. It's just this honoring. Yeah. Where's your heart? Right? Where's your, exactly. Yeah, am I doing that? Am I doing that just because I want to be a servant? Just because I want to honor, like you said, honor somebody else? I'll do that all the time. If I'm opening the door, somebody else is trying to come out, let them come out first. That kind of thing is where's your heart? Because that's going back to number 1. It has principles. Okay, yeah. Well, what are they? Are they biblical? Where do they come from? And what are they based on? Are they based on the principles of what's going on today? Or are they based on something that never changes? Because there is absolute truth. How can you know it's all truth is relative? Are you absolutely sure? Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, and all truth is relative. Okay. Though you're telling me an absolute when you tell me that all truth. Yeah. So, okay. There is absolute truth. Yeah. His name is Jesus. Yeah. And he's the one who created truth. So we've got to hold on to these things because it never changes. Can look differently in different people and all that, but the truth never changes. So that God was the same yesterday as he is today, as he will be tomorrow. So that's where we can hold on to this because mankind will twist things to our own ends. We are shifting sand. 100%. We are shifting sand. 100%. And I mean, like those 15 points, they weren't all bad. It's just what's behind them, right? Everyone has principles. Everybody has principles, whether you really think about it or not. Like everybody, like drug dealers got principles. That other criminal has principles. That dude that murders people, he's got principles. Like everyone's got principles, right? What are your principles? Right? Yeah, exactly. Right. So exactly. I pulled up that list that I had that I lost, and I'll just fire this up. But this says, and I don't know I know the website, but I don't know anything about the website.
All right, here, before you do that, I just want to I want to finish off because I love these. Because how to look, because based off of this list, here's the summary for their summarization. I said that really weird. Here's their summarization. How to look like a man and behave like a real man. Number 1, don't giggle. Mm-hmm.
I'm done.
So no. What's that dog? They're laughing like for me anymore. Yeah. 2, grow a beard or mustache.
Oh man.
So yeah.
I mean, I just can't. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. 3, have whiskey or scotch on the rocks.
Okay.
And 4, have intense eye contact.
Intense, like the smolder. Do you smolder when you do that?
Was I smoldering when I did that? I was trying to look intense.
You do. You look very intense.
Do I look intense? But see, I can't giggle. Here, it's
no. I failed already.
I can't do it.
Exactly. It's so like it's the whole thing of like, oh, if you're not a man if you don't drink black coffee. Right. And it's like, hey, listen, man. Hey, I'm going to be honest. Like every now and then I want some pumpkin spice. Is that okay? Does that make me less of a man if I order pumpkin spice?
It is okay.
So with side note on this, my daughter laughs so much. So I take my daughter out every Saturday morning, or consistently try to do every Saturday morning. And we just go grab coffee somewhere. And we go to a lot of local places. Well, I always order, because I just prefer this. I always order a latte, but I order an almond milk latte, and I have them throw a couple extra shots in there, whatever. So that's what I order. And then she orders whatever. But she laughs at me every time I order that because of that stereotypical thing, right? Like, hey, my dad's ordering an almond milk latte. Like, what in the world, right? And then when they bring it, they usually bring it like, I like to-go cups, and I always tell them, I always forget to tell them. So they bring it in this big coffee cup, and it's like, foam artwork on it. It's usually a heart, because I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. And my daughter laughs at me every single time. And I'm like, hey, I like almond milk latte. Like, I like black coffee, but it's okay if I want an almond milk latte. Like, it's totally fine. Or I want pumpkin spice, it's fine.
Yeah, it's for nothing wrong with it. I thought you were going to say that when they bring it out, they set it in front of her.
They've done that. They've done that before. And it is super funny because they have done that before. But
I don't like coffee. I drink chai.
Oh, well,
I drink chai tea.
How dare you? Like I don't even know. Like, what in the world? You better grow a thick beard.
Why are we even doing this? Yeah. Why are we even doing this podcast with you anymore?
I can't even believe this anymore. No, so earlier when I said I had that list and I rattled off a few of the things. So again, I Googled basically like biblical man, right? Like, what is a biblical man? And this website, it says 12 wonderful responsibilities God has given to men, right? And so it's not all encompassing, but this is like, I mean, they have scriptures out on it, right? Like,
good place to start.
Yeah, good place to start. But I'll go through these really quick. To work, and that talks about that in Genesis. To be courageous, right? Josh 1:9. To be strong, 1 Corinthians 6:13. To love, right? And there's tons of them, but they give Matthew 22:37. To be a husband, right? If you're single, that doesn't disqualify you. These are responsibilities that God has given men, right? So if you are married, to be a husband, to be the head of his wife. And I know, like, oh, whoa. Like, we can't say that now. Like, we can't say.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right. You're not supposed to say that. To be the head, it talks about this in Ephesians chapter 5, one of my favorite chapters in the whole Bible. Not because of this verse, but there's a lot of Ephesians 5 in there, right?
You almost made me spit my water.
I was hoping, right? No, there's a lot of stuff in Ephesians 5 and I love it, but not because of 5:23-24, but you need to really get into that. Like you need to understand that, right? Because yes, I'm the head of my household. Christ has called me to be that, the head of my wife, but it's not a dictatorship, right? You could do a whole episode on just this.
In no ways.
No.
Actually, we might actually take that apart.
Yeah, we should. We should dive
into
that. Then number 7, to serve sacrificially, right? It's a that kind of service is a service that you're not getting anything back, right? There's no tip. There's no anything. Like you're not expecting anything back, right? In a marriage, that's what it's like. But you end up serving each other equally. And so then it just kind of goes back and forth. But
ideally, do on as unto please the Lord, right?
Absolutely. To be a father, right? So if you are blessed enough to have kids, to be a father, and it goes Ephesians 6:4, don't provoke your children in anger. Hebrews 12:7, God is treating you as sons, for a son is whom a father does not, or it asks the question, for what son is there whom his father does not discipline, right? So it talks about, hey, you need to be a father. Part of being a father is you got to get on your kids. A loving father isn't someone that just lets their kids run rampant and do everything. That's not a loving father. No. That's actually the opposite. That's a worldly love that the world will try to press on you. Like, let your kids do whatever they want. That is horrible, horrible. Like you're raising what we see. That's what happens. Okay.
It discipline's about guidance, not about punishment.
Exactly.
We talked about that in the boundaries. We talked about that.
Absolutely.
In episode like 11 or something.
Here's one of my favorites: to be compassionate. Right. Peter 3:7, Psalms 103:13. But like Peter 3:7, it's likewise husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. Again, we can dive into that a little bit more on another episode. It's not necessarily saying weaker as in like you're a lower person, nothing like that.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Since they are heirs with you of the grace of life so that prayers may not be hindered. It's 1 Peter 3:7 is amazing. Like that's 1, 2, you guys need to dive into that for sure. Number 10. Start
doing a Bible study.
I know, seriously.
All right, go ahead.
Number 10, to provide. Right. But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he is denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Right. It's your responsibility to provide, whatever that looks like. Right. It doesn't necessarily have to be monetarily. I mean, that's immediately what you think, but it doesn't have to be like that. Right.
A lot of guys think monetarily. They don't think about the love and the affection and being present and being attentive to their kids and their wives and all that. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. And that's from 1 Timothy 5:8, 11, to be accountable. Man, and this is 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I want to hit on this because if you look at the list that you went through, it talks about, or the first list you went through, and it talks about commanding respect and having people look up to you and all these things. Think about that. So you think of that, and then you have this, to be accountable. Right? To be accountable is to live life in such a way that you're trying hard not to mess up. Like we're all human. You're trying hard not to mess up. You really are. But it's to live a life above reproach, right? It's to be accountable and then to be open to be accountable. So what it talks about, it's 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I want you to understand that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the wife is her husband, and the head of Christ is God. And so it's this accountability chain, right? I'm accountable to Christ. So the way I live my life isn't because I'm accountable to my wife. It's because I'm accountable to Christ, right? And then everything else starts falling in place. Number 12, to be honorable, right? So not demanding respect, not commanding respect, not all these things, but it's to be honorable. It's the way you live, right? The righteous who walks in integrity, blessed are his children after him. Proverbs 27. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Philippians 4:8. Like, that's it. There was just 12 pieces. But man, you take that list that actually defines what it's talking about with scripture. And then you take the list
Oh, yeah.
that we went over, the secular how to be a man list, and it's like, whoa, right? Like, what's harder?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's harder? It's harder
to
be a biblical man, the man that God's called you to be. It's harder to be that than to be what society says you should be.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? But the beauty of that, though, is it's not changing, and there's not uncertainty about it, right? Because that's the problem. Because look, the message is always changing from the world, and so you can't keep up with it. You know, once you thought you had it down, it changes. And even the people who are canceling people, they're getting canceled because the message is changing.
Yeah.
It's just shifting around, which amuses me to no end.
Oh, I know.
But anyway, so let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
So because we got the average man.
Yeah.
Okay. They seek the world for wisdom on how to be a man. That's where they're looking at, and so he seeks to become a good man. For his own benefit and praise, but can get paralyzed by the fear because there's this uncertainty, and usually gives up, right? And we got all these men who are checking out and who are just like, because look, if I'm going to get it wrong, I'm going to get it wrong by just not doing anything. Then work hard and still get it wrong. The above average man looks to the Lord for guidance on how not only to be a good man, but to be a godly man. He's faithful, trustworthy, respected, and respectful. And he's completely surrendered to the Lord. So guys, go be more than just an average good man. Be an above average godly man. And we look forward to talking to you next time.